This video really begins in November of 2024. For the last 11, 12 years, I have spent November and some days in December in the area of Asia. Myself, Billy Bland, Tim Burrows, and Tim Hayes have been traveling together. And every year, we did this in 2024, we did it in 2025, and I suspect if time goes on, we'll do it in 2026. We sit down and make our plans for the next year. So we sat down and talked about the places that we were going to go. For me, I was in Malaysia, Thailand, and Singapore. Now, Singapore is naturally the home or the hub of every place that we travel. Ira Rice Jr., in years gone by, established a school. That's the Four Cs Bible College and Missions. And I encourage you to learn more about what the Four Cs Bible College and Missions has done in the past, but also is doing in the present. And matter of fact, be looking into next year. We'll be releasing a video, hopefully detailing to you more information about the Four Cs Bible College and Missions. But I encourage you to go seek their website out, go find them on social media, and see what they are doing. But Ira Rice set out to find a place in Asia where gospel preachers could be trained. And now for just a few years longer than the Memphis School of Preaching, the Four Cs Bible College and Missions has been producing preachers and sending them to go into all the areas of their known world. They even have a few graduates in the United States of America. But we spend time in Singapore as our hub base, and we sit down and talk about all the places that we're preparing to go. When we fast forward over to February and March, we get together, we spend time, we book our main flights, going from the United States to Singapore, depending on what city you leave, whether you talk about California or whether you talk about New York, you're either going to take a 16 and a half hour flight or a 19 and a half hour flight operated by Singapore Airlines. This is a direct flight. We'll talk about that flight and give you a little imagery of taking off the ground here in just a few minutes. But we book those tickets. We make sure we take care of our hotel arrangements inside of Singapore, and we start reaching out to those in the other nations that we're going to attend, and we talk about where we can stay, what we can do, and get those things settled down. We also take care of what we call our domestic flights. That for me is from Nashville to wherever I'm going to take that big trip. For me, this past year, it was Nashville long-term over to San Francisco, California. However, as we talk about this trip, I want you to look at a number of things to help you understand what we were doing. I want to talk about in this report, the 2025 report, the travel from the United States to Singapore. I want to spend time talking about the schedule. What did we actually do? What did I do while I was on the ground? I want you to see the locations, the places where I traveled to, the places I preached, the things that I was doing, and you see the actual places that exist. Then I want you to see the work. What was going on? What were we doing? What were some of the side things that really have become, for me, some of the main things that I do while I am in Asia? And then I want you to end with me by talking about the people. The people are the reason we go. The people that we meet, the people that we know, the people that we have formed friendships with, that's what we want to see. Because when you see that, you'll see the purpose, you'll see the reason, and you'll see why we keep going year after year. Let's talk about travel. Now, to talk about travel, there's a number of things we need to think about. We need to think about all the areas that I traveled to. There were 10 different flights. I took flights with Delta Airlines, with Singapore Air, with Thai Air. We rented a car in San Francisco so we could get from the airport to the hotel and the hotel back to the airport, as well as taking care of dinner on that first night of the trip. We had multiple MRT, the transit system, the subway system inside of Singapore. I took one diesel locomotive train from Singapore over to Johor Bahru, Malaysia. And I took one car ride, that's something I've never done before, over from Malaysia back into Singapore. And then there were multiple cab rides. They use companies like Zig, Tada, as well as Grab for you to be able to travel in and around Singapore. So these are the areas that we're discussing when it comes to our travel inside the trip. I want you to start with me on the morning of November the 10th. This is the Nashville International Airport. Now, this was early that morning. It was around 4 a.m. when I went into the airport. You'll remember in the end of 2025, there were some problems with TSA. There were some problems with airlines, and it all centered around government shutdowns. That's when we were taking this trip. So we made our way, or at least I made my way, into the Nashville International Airport. You come down this escalator, you will see the TSA check lines right there in front of you, and I'm going to swerve to the right, and I'm going to make my way here so that I can get into my check-in, so I can do all the things that I need to do to drop my luggage. You would be impressed at how much luggage we take with us. Maybe you would be impressed at the small amount of luggage that we take with us. Just 2 bags of luggage, one larger size and one medium size. You make your way through TSA. I didn't film any of those things for security reasons and other matters. I just want to get through it. But you find your way walking through the airport, making your way over to your gate. Here we are walking through the Nashville International Airport, or BNA. And you can see that the airport this morning, it was not extremely busy, but it was a little busier than I anticipated it to be. And finally, you make your way over to where you can walk down that jetway, that jet bridge, and you can find yourself on your plane. Now, this was the start to 10 flights. Now, in total, from Nashville to Nashville, these 10 flights, 23,381 miles and 45 hours and 49 minutes of airtime just when the wheels leave the ground and just when the wheels set back on the ground. So you can see the travel time is quite immense. Matter of fact, as we think about travel, we find ourselves in San Francisco. This was the leg of the trip where we began to leave the United States and start on a 16.5-hour journey. Now, this journey is long, no matter how you cut it. This journey is tiring, no matter how you try to define it. This journey is going to take a long time. You find yourself sitting on the runway here. Pilots have done all the things they needed to do. The plane's ready to go. And you find yourself asking questions. Am I ready for 16.5 hours? But it's too late. He has hit those thrusters, those throttles, and he is beginning to take you down the runway. This particular flight, operated by Singapore Airlines, is operated on an Airbus A350-900 ULR. That ULR is really important, ultra long range. And this allows a wide-body jet to go these long distances. Matter of fact, Singapore Airlines holds the top 3, or at least out of the top 5, 3 of the world's longest flights. It's right now when you realize there is no turning back. You are on one of the top 5 world's longest flights. Now, San Francisco is an easy airport to enter and to exit. It is a busy airport. However, it's very easy to get to. It's pretty easy to make your way to that airport. For me, I was very lucky. During the government shutdowns of 2025, especially there on November the 10th, I was able to make my way to Nashville, leave Nashville, end up in Texas, fly from Texas over to San Francisco, and there I met Billy Bland, Tim Hayes, and Tim Burrows. Now, Billy Bland and Tim Burrows all ended up delayed due to a couple of factors that did not have to do with the government shutdown. They made it onto their flights. They made it to where they needed to go, but there was a plane problem inside of Memphis, and they didn't make it to Texas in time to make the flight over to San Francisco. But thankfully, they were able to get rebooked. Delta does a really good job at taking care of those that travel with them. Now, this flight from San Francisco, or SFO, to Singapore, SIN, is 8,448 miles, and our exact time was 16 hours and 20 minutes of travel time. We traveled over, or at least from San Francisco, going west that way, flying through the rise and the fall of the sun, and making our way, kind of cutting over and down over the Philippines, and finding our way down into Singapore 16 and a half hours later. Now, there were 10 total flights. That's just one of the flights, one of the many, from Delta, Singapore Air, and Thai Airways. We'll talk about the Thai Airways flight here in just a minute. We also travel on these trips in a variety of different ways. We travel with the MRT system. This is the MRT inside of Singapore. I was trying to make my way from the hotel to the Woodlands checkpoint so that I could get on this train that you can see me talking. This was an experience. Everything I thought I knew was wrong. They were doing some construction so that I could get on that particular train. This was a diesel locomotive going from Singapore to the right of the screen over to Malaysia there to the left of the screen. And everything I thought I knew, it was wrong. They had you standing in this tunnel above the trains. The windows were open. If you know anything about Singapore, it's 9,452 degrees. I'm just kidding. It's not that hot, but Singapore is a very hot, humid destination. Never really changes. The Rice family said there were 3 temperatures inside of Singapore. It was hot, hotter, and oh my, how can I stand it? And it was an oh my, how can I stand it day as I was trying to make my way over to Malaysia. But you can see here, I've made my way into Malaysia via that diesel locomotive train and found myself meeting the people who were going to pick me up and carry me to the hotel and then take me over to the congregation that you'll see here in just a moment. We also travel by vehicles, by buses, by cars, by taxi cabs, all sorts of different ways. This was in Thailand, Kalasan, Thailand. The preacher there in Thailand picked us up. He's driving on the front right side of the van. I was in the back. Tim Burrows is sitting in the front there beside me. Jason Moore is there in that middle left beside Tim, and then Jamie Long is there in the front. And we were making our way this particular day, going from the hotel over to the congregation. So that is the 2025 report on the travel of which we used to go. Let's talk about the schedule. That's a big deal. Here is the 2025 schedule. This is from me. This actually starts on Sunday, November the 9th. That's not on the schedule. Kelly and I drive to Nashville. We stay overnight in Nashville so I can be in the airport very early. Something about getting settled in the airport, that's a big deal. I make my way to Singapore by Wednesday, November the 12th, and I am there until December the 2nd when we take off at 9:15 in the morning. I was busy on this particular trip. This was one of the busiest trips that I have taken to Asia. While I was there, we had travel on November the 12th. We did planning. I was in Johor Bahru, November the 14th to the 16th. I was in Thailand, November 17th to the 20th. And I was in Singapore, the 21st unto the 1st. And I made my way home on December the 2nd. It was a busy Trip. Now, as we go through, we'll talk about a number of things that I'm going to do, especially later on when we talk about the locations. And there we'll talk about the lessons that were presented, the things that were done, all sorts of different information. But I want you to kind of see when it comes to the schedule, some of the things that I do. Now, part of my work, and you'll see this in a minute, is working with the Four Cs Bible College and helping them stream their graduation and the lectureship. This is a screenshot of some text messages that I sent to Peter Chin. And this is a screenshot, or really a picture, of some notes that I had taken there on that particular day. But this is my information, trying to keep up with who was watching, who was participating, what country they were from. We try to keep up with that information because the lectureship, that's a very vital role and part of what we do because it's a busy time. Here is the printed out schedule, and then I write all over this schedule. Interestingly enough, one of the hardest things to remember is to press the record button. So you will see that I have pressed record. I've got it highlighted all over that particular schedule so that I can see what needs to be done. But we deal with these recordings, and long term, we're getting ready to do this. This lectureship will be on your podcasting platforms. And we'll be setting that out for those in Singapore as well as those in the United States. We'll also have all of these videos online. Now, we stream the lectureship on Facebook. It is the most vital part of what we do. We've done it on a couple of different platforms before, but Facebook performs better based on the nature of where we're at. And we've kept with that over a number of reasons. And the analytics are a little bit easier for us to keep up with when we go there. So that has to do with the schedule. I speak, I travel, I run, very few day times or times down. Let's talk about the locations. The locations that I worked inside of this trip. I spent time in Johor Bahru, Malaysia, just right across the causeway, a big water channel in between Singapore and Malaysia. I spent time in Kalasan, Thailand. Now, this is where you saw me riding in that van, in the back of that van earlier. And then I spent time inside of Singapore. Now, this is inside of Malaysia. This was a wonderful group of people, had such a good time with them. This was on a Friday evening. I did a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday at the Skudai Church of Christ. They were in a strip mall kind of deal where they were located, and you kind of see the parking and the arrangements of things there. But I did a weekend seminar with them on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they asked me to speak on technology. I had just completed the Danger Zone course here in the United States, and that is all online available. I'll put that information in the links to this video as well. But they asked me to speak on some of these things having to do with technology, having to do with parenting, having to do with young people. And what was really interesting to me is the parents who came, and they talked about on Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, hey, we need help with this. And I'd say that's probably true for here at home. I spent time in Kalasan, Thailand. Now, Thailand was an amazing portion of this trip. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect, but this was the church building, and we're walking our way toward the church building. To the right, those glass doors, that's the church office, and then here you can see the church. You kind of see it coming into focus through those windows, and you have people sitting everywhere. I want you to notice a couple of things. I want you to notice the plastic chairs. I want you to notice that they're all wearing jackets. As it turns out, 70 degrees, a cool season, a cold season blew in, and the cold season was 70 degrees, and they were freezing. We were so thankful because we had been in Singapore, and it had been very hot, and here we are as they are singing. They are singing in their language in Thailand, and we are singing in English. They did something very unique with their PowerPoint. They put their PowerPoint on the screen, and in their books they were singing that way, but the PowerPoint had their language, and then it had English so that we could sing along with them. So Thailand, I'm telling you, was a part of the trip that I did not expect to be so wonderful. I didn't know what to expect. I'll admit to you, a little apprehensive, new country, new place, don't know everything I need to know about the culture, but I was able to go spend time with people. I'm going to show you some of those people toward the end here in just a minute as we think about these people. But I want you to know when we think about this, we're talking about a work that Finley is going to hopefully soon begin to oversee. The congregation that oversees the work inside of Thailand, they are looking at focusing inward on their work there at the congregation. So they're looking for someone to take this work over. While we were there, they made us aware of this, and I sent a message out to the elders at Finley, said, hey, here's something that we could do. I want you to be thinking about it when I get back. And we spent some time talking about that when I got back. We called the eldership that was overseeing the work and talked to them about the work, the good, the bad, the ugly, and they had great things to say. And I sent the preacher there in Thailand a doctrinal questionnaire. We wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we thought. In my conversations with him there in Thailand, I had a real good idea of who we were dealing with. And he was a graduate of the School of Preaching in Knoxville, overseen by the Carnes Church of Christ. So I already had a confidence in him based on who he was taught under school with at that time, and especially that school now today, still a great school. So we have reached out to them, and we're in the process of setting everything up to oversee that work. And I look forward to being in Thailand in 2026. Matter of fact, we're going to bring preachers from all around into Thailand, especially some countries we can't enter and countries I'm not going to say on this video just in case it's online. And we're going to bring preachers in to do a preaching seminar. So that's going to be a good time where we can spend with them, and that's due to the work inside of Thailand. The other location I want you to know is the Jurong Church of Christ. Now, this is during the Four Cs Bible College Lectureship. You can see the room is full from back to front. There are approximately 10 different nations assembled in this room from all over the world. And they came to listen to lessons, and those lessons start at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And they're going to run all the way through the 3 and 4 o'clock hour as you go through the day. And this room is going to look like this during every one of the lectures. They are attentive. They have their Bibles. They purchased a lectureship book that kind of helps them follow along with these lessons. And they sat there from beginning to end, from start to finish, all so they could participate in these messages. You could see some of the students of the school there, and as you kind of go back through the crowd, you can see up in the front left there some of the equipment that we take along with us to do some of these things. But this is a wonderful place. Now, what's interesting to me, and I want you to think about this, just to the left, if you were looking at that auditorium and you look to your left, you would look out of those glass windows and you would see a Chinese temple. And you would see incense being burnt. And you would see money being burnt. Now, they don't burn actual money anymore. They sell replica money, and then you offer that as your offering, and that smoke is billowing up, and you can see that as you go through your days. You walk in the parking lot, you can smell that incense, and you can see, the culture that we're in. Those were the 3 locations where we worked this year. Let's talk about the work that we do inside of Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. We'll start with Malaysia. Now, I presented 4 lessons in Malaysia. This was over a Friday through Sunday. In Thailand, I presented 2 lessons. They were in a lectureship and meeting style. We did 2 days from morning to night. I did 1 in the morning on one day. I did 1 in the night on the next as we think about that particular scene. And in Singapore, I did 10 lessons. I did 2 at the Four Cs Bible College and Lectureship. I did 4 at a youth camp. I did 2 in a parenting seminar. I taught 1 Bible class at Jurong, and I presented 1 sermon at Lima Pen. Needless to say, by the time this was over, by the time I got to the bottom of this calendar, I was wore out. I was exhausted. This calendar, this trip, it's not for sightseeing. It's not for fun. It's for work. Now, it includes a lot of travel, a lot of things that you have to experience and deal with, but it is for work. And that's one of the things that we do while we are there. We work in this particular trip. Now, one of the things that I do, it's right here in the auditorium of the Geelong Church of Christ, where the lectureship is held under the 4C School. If you can kind of follow with me here, we're going to walk up forward and you're going to be able to see the mobile production that I travel with. Now, I bring all of this equipment with me. Now, I don't bring this TV that's on this stand, but all of the cameras, all of the video switchers, all of the things that are needed to make this work, I bring it with me. And I set these things up and I get them ready so that the people who are watching online and the people that are there in the auditorium and those that are there, there's my little sheet that I keep up with. This would have been on a Monday. You can kind of see, or at least the top of a day there, you can see that's where we were working. And I bring multiple cameras and I bring all of these things so that you can be a full participant online. Not everybody can travel to Singapore. Whether you're in these nations or not, the countries of the Philippines and all of these other areas, Thailand, so many people were there. Other countries that I'm not going to name because I don't want to create any problems. They were there. Now, in the note of what we were doing, I made a different video so you could kind of see all of these aspects of what we were doing. But here we are right where you saw a moment ago. This was in one of the early mornings. No one was there. I get there early to get everything on, and I thought I'd show you kind of what we did. So where I sit is right there, and I controlled everything that's online and the recordings and all the information that's happening from our audio sources to all the different inputs that we have, including, there's that little sheet. I'm telling you, that is the most important piece of paper that I have during the lectureship. And then I use all of these different converters and adapters and things to control everything. My system also runs, you can see these little cables. There's a Ethernet cable and there is a coax or SDI line, and I feed their projector system through this little unit right here. This is what controls their projector system. Here's the little red box that I bring with me. That's a disseminator to make sure the signal paths are correct, so that I can have the screen and the presenter can have a screen so he can see what's going on, and they can run a clicker. There's a little converter to run that screen, and they're able to see everything that's taking place with this morning. So when the people sit in these pews, they're able to see everything that you're able to see if you're watching it online. And what a blessing it is to be able to do this. Now, I'm going to list you a couple of countries. I have them on my little screen in front of me, but I'm not going to list all of them. We streamed to the United States. Now, these are not in any particular order. We streamed to Africa. We streamed to Australia. We streamed to one country I'm not going to list. We streamed to India. We streamed to another country that I'm not going to list. We streamed to Malaysia, Mexico, Myanmar, Nepal, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. 13 different nations were a part of this streaming adventure. Let's talk about the numbers that have to do with the streaming. Now, when it comes to graduation, we had 5,225 views, 120 reactions, 38 comments, 31 shares, 455 different administrative clicks or other clicks on that. Through the lectureship, I've broken it up into first day A and B. And if you follow all of that down, in total, we had 23,431 views just looking at the lectureship in the time of the 4 days of the lectureship. No more time after that. There were 18,206 views. 452 reactions to the lectureship, 154 comments, and 189 shares. This has become one of the great things that I have been doing with the Four Seas Bible College and Missions. And through this studio that I'm sitting in now, through this work, through what I call digital mission work, that's our studio, and these trips, we've been able to have on-the-ground learning to know how to do these things better. And we have some more things we're going to try next year to hopefully make it better and better. Let's end today talking about people. That's the reason we go. I want you to see two children. I won't give their names because I wouldn't want my children's name broadcast around the world, but here are two children, and they were so excited to see the things that I were doing. This was during one of the breaks. You can see Tim sitting there. We oftentimes have snacks in those breaks, but these children, they're so excited about what's going on. I want you to meet two other people. I want you to meet two people in Thailand. These are two brothers. Matter of fact, there's three brothers, and they're both going to go to the Four Seas Bible College and Missions, and they're going to come back to Thailand. They're going to work, and here they are with their family, and you can see the young man there in the black jacket. By the way, cold season had come through. You can see the young man standing there in the jacket. I told him, "You're next." He didn't seem to think that was as funny as I thought it was, but we had a good time with them there. Here are more that were in Thailand, and you can see they bring their children with them. They want to be there, and they want to meet you, and they want to know you. Here I was preaching in Thailand. We had to use translators while we preached in Thailand. We obviously spoke in English, and the translator would do that. You would speak a few sentences, and you would pause, and he would take that information over. The preacher there at Callison, and this man right here also did the translating. He is a graduate of the Four Seas Bible College and Missions, and he works in the country of Laos doing a great work, and we're going to do some things with him next year. This was the picture day for the Four Seas Bible College and Missions. Now, this is a large group. And if you've ever been a part of a group photo, you know what it's like. Imagine trying to get all this done. Well, Singaporeans have perfected queuing, getting ready, getting in lines, getting in groups, and they did that. And then these two children, I like to call them my Singaporean children. I met Megan when she was about this big, and then I met Matthias when he was about this big, and every year when I get there, I look forward to seeing them, and it seems that they look forward to seeing me, and this is what I want you to envision. These are the people that are a part of these works, these congregations, and they're around the world, and I'm here to tell you, without your help, I could have never gone there. Without your help, the work that takes place in Asia could never go forward. Without your help right here, we could never do this. We could never make it happen. Now, let me tell you where we're at for the 2026 trip. I have already booked my ticket to Singapore from New York, JFK, to Singapore, 19-and-a-half-hour flight. I have prepared the bookings for the domestic flights. We're working on hotel arrangements and other things, and we're working on the places that we're going to go. I'm going to be in Singapore and Thailand. I'm limiting myself to these two countries. That's going to give me more time in Thailand to work with the congregation that you saw there, as well as do a preaching seminar with Tim Burrows, and we'll spend time there together, and we're going to bring preachers from all sorts of different countries, and we're going to bring them there, countries we can't travel to. Matter of fact, one of the countries that we're going to bring preachers to, we were invited to go, and we were prepared to go, and we were ready to go, but we got a message that, hey, you don't come here. You're not allowed to come. And that was due to government restrictions on what could be taught publicly inside of those countries, especially from foreigners. So we did not make that trip. But now, years later, a door has opened for us to be able to teach these preachers, and they want to learn more about the Bible, and we're going to go do that, and we're going to come up with a multi-day session of time, and we'll need your help doing that because these preachers are going to have to travel, and I don't want them who have very little money. I don't want them having to spend their own money to be able to come over to this seminar. I want to be able to fund that. We're working on the cost of all of that now. It will not be astronomical to bring them over, for things are very cheap there. It will not be astronomical, crazy to put them in a hotel there. While I was in Thailand last year, my hotel cost $90 for the entire stay. So it won't be crazy to do that, but I want to fund that, and I want to fund the rest of my trip as I think about that particular scenes, the flights and things. And I want you to know, without your help, we could not do this. I also want to go ahead and lay this out. I'm going to put it here. If you stayed with me long enough, we're just about 30 minutes, maybe 31 minutes of time. If you stayed with me long enough, I'm going to put it right here first. I said I was going to release it in March. I'm just a couple of days ahead. We're going to build a TV studio in Sparta, Tennessee. It's going to be a TV studio that has 3 major sets. One, what we call the Digital Mission Work set. It's going to be somewhat like you see now, but a little bit more expanded so we can have the room to do what needs to be done. And then we're going to build 2 other sets. Now, these sets are going to be used to build videos for overseas, as well as build videos for use here in the United States. Digital evangelism, digital videos, this is not going away. And we want to start pioneering and launching some of these things forward in a better way so that production from all sorts of people that we bring in can be done. We're also going to have editing rooms, printing rooms, things that we need to make all of this production happen. We already have a 40 by 60 building. We don't owe any money on that building. We don't have to do anything with that building except retrofit it for that studio. And we are beginning right now. Matter of fact, as this video is being watched, some elderships that have already supported this work, matter of fact, everyone who has ever supported this work in congregation world has been sent a letter, and they've been given this information. They've got a drawing of what that building is going to look like, and we're ready to launch that effort. We expect that to take about $75,000 to build the first phase of this. That has to do with framing, with drywall, with insulation. We're going to have to spray foam the building because of noise and things of that nature. It's going to be electrical upgrades and HVAC things that need to be taking place. But we already have all the equipment to set up 2 of the 3 studios. And then down the road, we're going to build that 3rd one out, and we'll reach out to people just like you to help that effort. So for now, if you stayed here long enough, you get to hear of the dream that I've had for about 9 years now, maybe 8 years now. It's finally come to fruition, and we'll talk more about that later on. We're going to make a whole video about it, about what we're going to do and how we're going to accomplish it. But I appreciate you staying with me, and I want you to know we cannot do this without you. Thank you so much.